what you don't do is voice what is going on. You don't know because you think it's normal, because that's what Mamaji does.
Guys, thank you first of all for joining us. I have been joined by Priyah. That's not her real name. It's an alias name that we've given to this lady. Okay, the reason being because she might want to take this further, which I'm sure our viewers and myself will agree that it needs to be taken further. The topic of discussion is child sexual abuse, and really picking on and thinking of why the Southeast Asian community don't do enough or don't speak enough about this, don't raise enough awareness about this when it's quite rife within our communities. Priyah, just to begin with, how old are you?
I just turned 53.
Just turned 53. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Born and raised Sandwell?
In Birmingham. I was born and raised in Handsworth.
In Handsworth?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So, I take it second generation belong
Yes.
to, your family comes from where?
Punjab. I come from a Sikh community. We're Punjabi Sikhs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, growing up,
Yes.
okay, you was in a household, how many brothers and sisters?
I have 6 siblings, 3 brothers, 3 sisters.
3 brothers, 3 sisters. Where do you come in the line?
I'm the eldest.
You're the eldest.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, what do you recall when I say to you
Yes.
child sexual abuse? Now,
My dad passed away when I was quite young, just after my youngest brother was born. And I recall my mum telling me that her cousin was coming to visit and work here in the UK from India.
so let me stop you there.
Yeah.
Right. So what you remember is, how old was you when Dad passed away?
Right. When Dad passed away, I think I was 7.
7.
And he came when I was 9.
Okay. So Dad passes away at 7.
Yeah.
Mum says one of Mum's cousins is coming over from India to work, and I assume he's staying with you guys?
He stayed with us for a month.
Okay.
And then moved to Gravesend.
Okay.
And within that month, he targeted, I didn't know at the time, I know now, he targeted...
What was he like to begin with? Tell me, what was he like? In front of your mum, what was he like? To you, you are expecting him to be an uncle?
Yes.
A father figure?
A mamaji.
Yeah?
A mamaji.
Absolutely.
An uncle.
An uncle. And you're looking up to this guy at 9 years old as someone that would be really replacing your dad and protecting you?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly how I felt at the time. Little did I know that behind that facade, because in front of my mother and the rest of my siblings, yes, he was a perfect mamaji.
Okay.
Behind the scenes, he took any excuse to abuse me.
In front of your mom, in front of your other brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
he's acting like this extremely nice role model.
Perfect role model, perfect father figure.
Yeah.
He had this facade where he did everything to make my mum feel comfortable, that she was fine with having her children around him.
Okay, so your mom's lost the love of her life,
Obviously.
your dad,
Yeah.
so she's upset.
Yeah.
This cousin comes
She's
from
also
abroad.
got a very heavy burden of having all these
6
children to
6
to
kids.
raise.
Mum
and
was not
single
working?
mother. No, she worked. She sewed at home.
Okay.
Day and night. She worked very hard.
Okay.
Very hard. So,
I know this is upsetting for you.
yeah.
Take it on.
At that time, it was really difficult because as much as I wanted to shout and scream and tell her what this man was, I couldn't, because she was relying on him and depending on him.
Would Mum have believed you?
I think she would have. But then I'm not sure. I don't know, because circumstances as such where a woman alone that has that kind of responsibility on her shoulders is probably going to possibly dismiss her child saying something as fantasy or, you know, attention seeking and irrelevant. So that also didn't, obviously now in hindsight I realise that, but at the time I don't know what stopped me from approaching her and telling her, other than the fact that I knew my mum was struggling and she was depending on this person.
Okay. Financially depending?
No. I think support-wise, as a brother to her, he was her brother, so she was dependent upon that support.
Okay.
Not realising that he's a monster in disguise.
So look, you're a child, 9 years old, the eldest of the 6.
Yeah.
Mom's lost dad.
Yes.
We get this sleaze bag of a person.
Yes.
Who is now sexually targeting you.
Yes.
Okay. At 9 years old, wow. You know, what must have been going through your mind? Tell me, when did it first start? How did it first start?
About a week after he arrived, he called me up to the bedroom for something. I can't remember what it was, because my trauma and focus is on what he did next. And that was unzipping his fly and putting my hand into his trousers to touch him. You've got to realise at 9 years old, I didn't understand.
You don't know what you do?
No. And I just did what he did, like guided me to do. So at that time I just remember being so confused and thinking,
innocent?
Yes, very, because at 9 years old you have no comprehension of any sexual tendencies or any kind of awareness of that situation. You're just seeing an adult guiding you to do something, so you think, I've got to do it. There's no question in your head. You're thinking, an elder is asking me to do this, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm being disrespectful.
Yes, especially when coming from the Southeast Asian background.
Yes.
You know, it's a big no to be disrespectful to elders.
And refuse to
Absolutely.
act on their wishes.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you automatically do what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
What you don't understand is that what you're doing is wrong and disgusting on so many levels.
Yeah, and what this guy is actually getting out of this.
Yes.
Right, which is past your comprehension at the age of 9 years old.
9 years old, I've got no awareness. So he's taken full advantage of that. He's also taken full advantage of the fact that his sister is downstairs on a sewing machine, working away.
Trying to feed these kids and pay a mortgage and protect them and do whatever she's got to do as a mother. He's taken full advantage of that weakness as he sees it. Let me paint the picture.
Yes.
You've got a lady that loses her husband, is sewing to feed these kids, keep the roof over her heads, and lo and behold, she doesn't realise that she has this monster under her roof who is now sexually targeting
she's
her child.
Inadvertently, she's given a monster access to abuse those children.
Yeah.
Obviously, later on, I realised that he also did the same with my sister.
Oh, wow.
But at that time, I didn't know. And I wasn't even aware that what was happening was so wrong, Imran. Do you understand?
I get you. Yeah.
The confusion is that when I do realise, he stayed that month, that he used to keep visiting very regularly.
So the first month, this first incident happened?
That it wasn't just one incident, there was many after that. he'd find an excuse.
During that month?
Yes, during that month he'd find an excuse to call me or isolate me away from the attention of everybody else.
Okay.
Come and do this for me. Oh, can you get that down for me? Or can you bring me up a cup of tea? Or any excuse to have an opportunity to maul me.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And also to not just to touch him, he'd bite my lips.
He would bite your lips?
It was like an animal gnawing at you. He would bite my lips.
Would you say that this is how sexually frustrated he was? Looking back at it now?
He left his wife and young children back in India, in Punjab. So I think any excuse...
Even a 9-year-old would do?
Yes, even a 9-year-old would do. And my mother not realising and not knowing that her child was being poured daily. Poured, as in...
How did that make you feel?
Confused at the time. I'm not going to lie, very confused. Because as a 9-year-old, you think that that's your mamaji. And over a period of that month, I sort of thought, this is normal. This is what mamaji does. This is what mummy do. Do you understand?
Yeah.
This is fine. If it wasn't fine, it wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
That kind of mental burden on a 9-year-old started causing me to wet the bed.
Out of fear?
Yes, out of fear. It started causing me to wet the bed and insulate myself because I'm thinking...
Be more secluded, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, keeping yourself to yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even away from your siblings and your mother, who are your world and your orbit at that point in life. That's all you know. That's the only security you have as a 9-year-old. So for you to curl yourself up into a little ball through fear, and during the night having nightmares and seeing what occurred that day in your head during those dreams, of course you're going to wet the bed.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to curl up into that little ball and protect yourself.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, what you don't do is voice what is going on. You don't know because you think it's normal, because that's what mamaji does.
Right.
That's what mummy do. So you think, why would you open your mouth?
Yeah. Did your mum suspect anything at any stage?
No.
Mum was totally oblivious?
Totally oblivious. She had no clue. And I now wonder, because I'm a mother myself, I now wonder myself, how did she not see the signs?
Do you think that having gone through the trauma of losing her husband, I think she was more focused about not losing that roof over her head?
Yes.
The situation was such that it was all one focus, and that was, I'm going to keep these kids.
Yeah.
And I've heard so many horror stories, and especially from the Asian background, where one partner loses the other partner, and then the focus just remains on just trying to survive, and not thinking that what is actually happening. So, when she's, for example, she's looking at your mood swings or you being secluded, she may be putting this down to you losing your father.
Yeah, possibly. I think she was so focused on making sure that her children were fed and clothed and had a roof over their head that she didn't see the signs that were very, to me now as an adult, they were very obvious. But for her at the time, she had 6 kids to think about. She had to feed and clothe them and make sure that there was a roof over their head. And to her, she was doing the best job she could. And she was. I can't criticise her for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wonder, because now I'm a mother myself, I wonder, how could she not have seen that that something was amiss with her child, her daughter, at the age of 9. Not as an adult or a teenager, but at such a young age. What could be causing her daughter to wet the bed and shake in fear, and to be so wary of even a sibling's touch? Never mind a stranger's, a sibling's touch.
So you were putting yourself away from your brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Anybody coming close to you was like, whoa.
No, don't touch me, please.
Yeah, don't touch me, because you knew something was wrong with this mama who was touching you, but you couldn't put your finger on it to say this is not right. But I know this doesn't feel right any longer. Is that the sort of stage you're at now?
At that point, you've literally hit the nail on the head. At that point, that was where my head was at. I'm thinking, okay, this is normal, otherwise it wouldn't be happening. Mama do this, otherwise it wouldn't be happening. But at the same time inside, I'm thinking, no, this is wrong. This is not.
It just doesn't feel natural.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it doesn't feel natural, and it's painful. It's painful, not just physically on your body, when he's biting your lips and he's mauling your chest that hasn't got any breasts at the age of 9. There are no breasts there, there are no sexual organs there at such a young age. So why is he doing it? Why am I sticking my hand in his trousers and touching his penis? Why am I So at that time I'm questioning, no, that doesn't feel right. Something's not right, because I need people out there to realise that their kids aren't at danger from strangers, they're at danger from their own flesh and blood.
Yeah.
Generation-wise, during the 70s, I was born in 1968, so generation-wise, at that time when I was 9, we were in the 70s. At that time, an Asian woman as a widow, raising 6 children by herself, no help, no family, family as such as in the way we see families these days, interacting with one another and helping one another. That wasn't a thing back then.
No.
It was a woman against the world.
I think we all can
make a difference.
Raise awareness. And make a massive difference.
Absolutely.
Even if it means that you watching, if you are suspicious of a relative, of a friend,
yes,
and what Priyah has been telling us, then go and check. Don't just wait for it.
Have that conversation.
Have that conversation,
yes.
Because you never know, by having that conversation with that 9-year-old, you may discover something and you may intercept another Priyah.
Over the last few years, there's been a big thing about Muslim grooming gangs. They're not just Muslim, they're Sikhs as well.
Right, so he stayed with you for a month?
Yeah.
He's then gone away to work?
He's gone and moved to Gravesend for work.
Okay.
But he visited constantly.
And this continued?
This continued up until more my body, even though as the years got on, obviously I did develop breasts, which is natural for any girl. By the time I got to the age of 13, he'd be mauling my breasts, he'd be biting my lips, trying to kiss me. He'd encourage me to masturbate him, sticking my hand in his trousers. And you've got to understand it, even though this had gone on for a few years, I still had no clue.
So this is gone on for 4 years?
Yeah.
From 9
not
to 13?
Not just once or twice, this is constant and consistent. It's not like it happened once and it stopped. No. This was perpetual.
Yeah.
Then he'd literally taught me to masturbate him.
Have you told anybody at this stage of 13?
No, still not.
Still not? You haven't told anybody. So he goes away.
Yeah.
Gravesend.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you feeling within yourself now? How are you dreading this monster coming back in your house?
Yeah.
Are you literally sitting there crying, thinking?
I am. I'm terrified every time. Every time he'd turn up. Every time every time I saw him at a wedding or a family wedding or anything like that, I'd be terrified because I knew what was going to happen. And I knew I didn't like it, I didn't want it.
Is he telling you that you can't tell anybody?
Yeah. The once. I mean, we live in the Midlands, so you know Twycross Zoo, yeah?
Yeah.
The ones he promised my siblings and myself and my mum, I'll take you to Twycross Zoo. And about a week before that, when he visited, he said if I didn't masturbate him, if I didn't put his penis in my mouth, then sorry to you, I'm really sorry to be graphic, but I need to be graphic because this is how horrible and how traumatic it was. He wouldn't take us to Twycross Zoo, and it would be my fault.
Wow.
My fault, because I didn't do that. So if you can imagine that kind of fear, and to use to blackmail a child at that age, you've got to realise at this time I'm 13.
Mm.
You know, 4 years have gone on. I'm 13 years old, and I know no different.
Mm.
And I'm still in that shell, and I'm scared, I'm vulnerable. I know what's coming every time he visits, I know what's going to happen.
Mm.
So I'm already in a state of awareness, but at the same time what I don't know is whether he has had a conversation with other people about me.
And who are these other people, Priyah?
My mum's sister's sons.
Mum's sister's sons. These guys were born here?
Yes, they were born here and they live in Derby. There's two of them.
Mm.
There's 4 years between them. I'd love to name names, but we're not going to do that for legal reasons.
And are these guys same age as you at that stage?
No. The elder brother was 20 at that time, and the younger one was in his teens. I think he was about 16.
Okay.
So they were both older than me. They were even more cunning than my Moji though. Obviously, you know how we have 6-week holidays at school? During those 6-week holidays, my mum would take us to go and stay with her brothers and their kids and, you know, my mummy G's. And we'd spend, she's got 3 brothers, so we'd spend a week with one, then the other, and then the other. And they all lived close by in Handsworth. These guys wouldn't come to our house and abuse me.
Mm.
They'd wait until they knew we were at one of my mummy G's houses.
Okay.
One mummy G in particular, who was the youngest. And she'd obviously, we've got cousins, you know, she'd got children, we've got cousins, and we were all similar ages. She'd also got daughters. And at the time, you've got to realise that in Handsworth there was those Victorian houses where you had like 3 floors.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. So she'd be on one floor, asleep, and then she'd put all us kids into one big room.
Which is quite normal.
Absolutely.
Which is quite normal. If you've got a large family around,
yeah.
Not everybody's got a bed. Let me paint this picture.
Yeah.
And I've done this in the past, where we've all slept on the floor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, you've got 10 kids in a house.
Yeah.
And you haven't got 10 beds, so you're gonna accommodate,
correct,
you know, all of them
as best as you can.
As best as you can. Well, we'd end up in 2 bedrooms, and we'd end up.
We're not talking girls separate, boys separate.
No. They'd be on a different mattress, but then we'd be not far away from them. We'd be on a different mattress, but we'd not be far from them.
Mm.
The first time it happened, I remember waking up during the night, and you've got to realise that even though 4 years had passed, I was still bedwetting because of what
the fear.
Yeah, because of the fear. I remember waking up and finding older cousin who was in his 20s, his fingers inside my vagina.
Wow. It's okay. Take your time, be brave. And this is, she's now 53, and you can see she speaks about this like it was yesterday. You can imagine what this does to a kid. Imagine, put yourself into that predicament and understand that this is very, very difficult for Priyah to talk about. This is very difficult for anybody else who's probably watching this who's gone through the same thing. Okay, but these things happen, and the only people that could probably stop this is parents, guardians, close relatives who we can trust. And you know, the biggest betrayal was got to be this.
These people, to them, a child sitting on their lap, stroking a child's back, which seems innocent, doesn't it? It does seem innocent.
It does, yeah.
It's not. It's not, because that stroking of the back, then later on behind closed doors, that child thinks that, oh, it's okay, Uncle stroke my back, so I'm allowed to put my hand down his trousers.
Yes, I understand.
He's allowed to touch me and
Yeah.
touch my vagina.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you understand?
I totally understand.
So there is no boundary. They have no boundary.
Yeah. These are just little steps in grooming you
Absolutely.
and preparing you for the worst.
For the worst, yeah.
That's what it is, in a nutshell.
For the worst kind of violation that any human being
Yeah.
could experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And enjoy.
Absolutely. So then we got mum, sisters, boys,
Yeah.
16 and 20.
Yeah.
How often did that happen?
Every time there'd be a wedding, and obviously at weddings, you know, you'd come from far and wide, and you'd be in the same roof.
You're all kids, you play at weddings,
Absolutely.
you get together, yeah.
At one particular wedding, actually, at one particular wedding, the first wedding that I remember as a child, my cousin took me to an alleyway and put his penis in my mouth. And I was 30. 30.
Oh.
I think all that led to me being the person I am today. I mean that word brother because of those cousins. That word brother, you can realise hearing my mum call my mum my brother. No, it's not a safe word. It's not something I feel protected by. It's the reverse, actually. I'm threatened by it because I'm going to then expect the worst of you as a human being because that's all I've experienced. So,
when did it stop, Priyah?
oh gosh, right. I got married at 17.
You got married at a very early age, then?
Yeah, very young age. I got married, it was an arranged marriage. And I literally isolated myself then. I had no contact with any of those men. I made a point. They were at my wedding. Leading up to the wedding, obviously you have different events and things like that. During those events, I then discovered that I wasn't the only one they targeted.
Oh, okay.
They targeted my sister. They targeted...
How young was she?
She was 2 years younger than me.
So when you were 9, she was 7?
Yeah. Yeah. 7 years old. She was a baby. And then... my two cousins, Mum and G's daughters, whose house we used to stay at, when my cousins did that to me, they'd also experienced it. And it was during that time that all that came about. Mentally, I think I shut down at that point. And I realised that I couldn't be around these people. That caused so much grief in the family because my mum couldn't understand why I wouldn't go to their events, go to their houses, invite them to my house.
And you still have not told Mom?
No.
To this date?
No.
You've not explained this to Mom that, look, this is what they did to me?
No, I haven't. I spoke to you the other day about it, and I said to you, I know you all probably think I'm being strong sitting and having this conversation with you, but I need that support and strength in order to tell my mum, to go to the police, to protect the younger little girls in our family now.
This is my next point.
Yeah.
That you're now 53.
Yeah. And
You've got children.
So weak.
And it's taken you so long just to even talk about this. But why now, Priya? What are you scared of?
In the last few weeks, my brother had a little girl, which is my mum's first grandchild.
Okay.
From her son. Those people are still around, and they're still going in and out of my mum's house. And that little girl is at risk now. That's something I just can't.
Just can't comprehend that.
No.
That this may happen to this little kid.
She's a baby right now. But I was a baby when they did that to me. So she's at risk to that extent. And also we see so much in the media, and we see all these, on Facebook you see all these paedophile catcher groups and all that stuff. What you don't see is even a tenth of what the truth is, because we as a community don't discuss it, we don't talk about it, we don't acknowledge it. I mean, I was such an overbearing mother to my children.
I can imagine.
I was obsessive. No sleepovers, no going, you're not allowed out to my sight, basically. It wasn't their fault. They still don't understand it. They still don't understand why I was as protective and overbearing as I was. But it's because of what I'd experienced and what I'd gone through.
Yeah.
So for me, I just love every family out there to take stock of who you're allowing around your children. What kind of vulnerable situations you're putting them in, that maybe, whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, there are people that are your own flesh and blood that are predators. They're a danger to your children. Whether it's a boy or a girl, we all know there's predators are predators that don't look at sexual orientation. They're just going to go for what they can. Stop, take stock, be more protective, be more aware, talk to your children. I don't want my niece to be a victim. It terrifies me that these people are still around, which is why I called him round, which is why I said to him, I need your support. I need to be able to see this through, because that little girl can't go through what I've gone through.
What next, Priyah? Would you take this to the authorities?
Yeah. I asked you.
Good on.
I asked you to help me do that, because if I don't, then there'll be another Priyah.
100%.
There'll be another 10 Priyahs.
100%.
And that's not, to me, I can't reconcile with that. That's not acceptable.
Priyah, thank you ever so much for talking to me.
No, thank you.
You've been watching. No, honestly, you've been extremely brave. Guys, I'm going to leave some links for people like Mind, Childline, National Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Children. We do have resources that people could be talking to, children could be talking to, and I think it's important that somebody does take heed of this video, because like we said, it's not just the bigger scale here. Look at the little telltale signs that's sitting on the lap, the innocent hog. You understand? Just be very careful, be very wary. We don't know who the predator is. You know, we hope nobody is a predator, but if you've got doubts, and you know, use your maternal instincts to talk to your kids. The communication has to be there. Keep that open dialogue, so you are the first people to know about if something is going wrong. Monitor behaviours. Understand from Priyah's story, monitor behaviours. Why is all of a sudden this happy child now become a sad child? Something's going on. You know, even like wetting the bed. What is the fear? We need to have that open discussion. Priyah, thank you ever so much.
No, thank you for helping me, and I really appreciate it. And this isn't going to be the end of this story, because obviously I've got your support, you'll help me take it further. But what I will say is, please don't take this video as just entertainment or killing time, watching it on YouTube. It's not for that. You've got to be aware that every minute, every second that passes, somebody out there is abusing a child, and it's somebody that you have allowed into their orbit, into their environment. So please take it seriously, and I really appreciate the fact that you've been so supportive, so kind. This didn't happen overnight. Imran didn't just think, oh, I know, let's make a video. It was actually I that approached him to do it. So please take heed of it and listen to my story, and realise that as a child you have no control, but I'm an adult now. So I can put my story out there and I have control. I can ask you and beg you to be more aware and protect your children and keep them safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priyah, thank you. Guys, that's been Priyah, and she is our sister, and she's every one of your sister. Remember, we have a responsibility towards our sister. You're watching Imran, and carry on watching the Broz.